Hello my dear students, my name is Gargi and today in this video lecture we are going to start our chapter Princess September. So let's start with the summary first. So in this story the king and queen of Siam have 9 daughters, right? So they have 9 daughters and the queen, she has a hard time remembering all the names of her daughters. So they come out with a plan and what they do is the king decides to name them after the months. So he named the youngest of them September. Okay, तो वो क्या करते हैं, वो months के name पे अपनी daughters के name रख देते हैं so that it would be easier for them to remember the names, right? So the youngest one gets the name September. The king had the habit of giving gifts to others on his birthday. One year on his birthday, he gave a green parrot in a golden cage to each of his daughters. So this king of Siam had this habit of giving gifts on his birthday, right? So on one birthday, he decides to give each of his daughters a parrot in a golden cage, right? So the princesses were happy and they used to spend an hour daily with them. The parrot said, "God save the king," and "Pretty Polly" in 7 languages. Okay, so the princesses, they got really happy after getting a parrot and they used to spend a lot of time teaching those parrots to say "God save the king" and "Pretty Polly" in 7 different languages, right? So they used to teach these particular things to them. One morning, Princess September found her parrot dead. She was very sad and wept and wept. The queen told the maids not to put her to sleep without supper. But as they had to go to a party, they left her crying and wept. Okay, so one morning what happens that the parrot of September, Princess September, it dies. So she started crying and she was really sad that her parrot is now dead. So the maids of honor, what they did was they left her crying and they did not give her any food. Okay, so she saw a little bird coming into her room. It started to sing about the king's garden, the goldfish, the willow tree, etc. In all this, she forgot to have supper. Okay, so there was this bird and she came into her room and she started singing, and the bird sang so sweetly that she forgot about her sorrow and she forgot about how her parrot was dead and how sad she was, and she also forgot to have supper. Bowing to the princess, the bird asked her if she would keep it with her in place of the parrot. The bird was not pretty. When the princess clapped her hands, it sang and she fell asleep. Okay, so the bird requested the princess to, have her in place of the parrot. So the princess agreed, and now the bird was singing, and with that sound, with that song, the princess slept. She fed it with her own hands, also bathed him. She took him to the king. Now they got really close. The bird and the Princess September, they got really close. She used to feed him and bathe him and they used to spend a lot of time together. The bird used to sing to Princess September. So they were very happy, and Princess September, wanted to share this with her parents. So she took him to the king, queen and her sisters. Everyone was delighted to see and hear its song. The king was very impressed by the bird singing and said that he would love to hear it sing. He is tired of listening to the parrots. Now, everyone there was so impressed by the bird singing that the king said that I would love to hear the bird sing because I am tired of hearing the parrot say "God save the king, God save the king" and "Pretty Polly." So, for a change, it's nice to hear something different, and of course, the bird sings really sweetly, so it's nice to have the bird around. The other princesses were jealous of Princess September. They asked September to buy a new parrot, but she said that she already has a pet bird. Okay, so the other princesses, they were really jealous of Princess September because she was, really happy with the bird, and the bird was really special. So all the other princesses were jealous of her. So what they did was, they asked her that if they could buy her a different parrot, a new parrot, with their own money. But Princess September said that she already has a pet and she does not need another one. It sings sweet songs like a nightingale and she does not need a parrot. They told her that the bird flies in and out anytime, thus she should keep him in a cage as someday it may not return. The other princesses, they were trying to make Princess September think wrong things about her bird. So they said that that particular bird that she has, it comes in and out as it pleases, and जैसा उसका मन होता है वो आता है, रुकता है, कभी भी चला जाता है. So हो सकता है कभी ऐसा हो that it might not come back at all. So she should keep him in a cage ताकि वो उसके पास ही रहे और कहीं उड़कर चला ना जाए. She was worried about the bird as it took too long to return. So one day when the bird went to visit its father-in-law, and it was taking too long to return. So now Princess September was really worried कि अभी तक मेरी bird वापस क्यों नहीं आई है. Were my sisters correct कि वो कभी एक बार जाएगा और फिर वापस ही नहीं आएगा. So she put it in the cage. On being asked by the bird, she said that it will be safe in the cage from the cats. The bird asked her to open the cage the next day, but she refused. So when the bird returned after the visit, she put the bird in a cage. And when the bird asked, "Why have you put me in a cage?" So she said that my mother's cats are prowling around and it's safer for you to be in the cage ताकि अगर कोई cat होगी तो तुमको कोई harm ना पहुँचाए. Okay. So but next day when the bird asks her to free her, but she refuses कि नहीं तुम cage में ही ठीक हो. Princess September asked him to sing, but it could not sing. It wanted to see the trees, the river, etc. It did not eat food also. Okay. So when the bird was in a cage, the bird was really sad because उसको अपनी freedom बहुत पसंद थी. Okay. उसको singing or to fly around, to see nature, to be around nature, that bird loved it. But जब वो एक cage में थी तो वो ऐसा कुछ नहीं कर पा रहा था. So the bird asked Princess September to free her, but उन्होंने साफ मना कर दिया. And then at some point it stopped eating anything and it stopped singing. So now the princess was worried. So the next day the bird told her that if he is not free, he cannot sing and will die. So one day one morning when Princess September wakes up and she says good morning, there is no reply. So when she gets up and looks into the cage, so she finds the bird at the bottom of the cage, and she is really scared now because she thinks that अपने parrot की तरह कहीं उसने इसे भी ना खो दिया. But when she takes the bird out, she can feel the heartbeat. So she was relieved that no, the bird is alive. But when the bird becomes conscious, तब उसे bird बोलती है कि अगर तुमने मुझे free नहीं किया, so I won't be able to sing at all. कि ना मैं कुछ खा पाऊंगा और ना मैं कुछ कभी गा पाऊंगा, ठीक है? And I will die eventually. So you have to, you can't keep me in a cage. She thus set it free. The bird flew away with a promise to return. She kept her window open and the bird returned and it sang lovely songs for her. Okay, so that's what she did. She learned from her mistake and she freed the bird, but the bird promised that it would come back, and it did. It did come back, and the bird sang for her, sang for the princess, and the princess realized that I love this bird and thus I have to set it free, right? I cannot keep it, in a cage, and if you love someone, you have to set them free. Like, if you love someone and if you love, so you have to put their needs before yours. So Princess September learns all this and Princess September grew very beautiful and got married to the king of Cambodia. However, the sisters were ugly and were married to the king's counselors. Okay, so she used to sleep with her window open because of the bird, and due to that fresh air and being near nature, she grew really beautiful. But the sisters, they used to sleep with their windows closed, and that's why they grew up to be ugly, and they could not marry some king. They had to marry the king's counselors. Okay, so this was the summary, everyone. Let's look at a few question answers. How did the maids of honor come to know that princess and the bird had come intimate friends? Okay, so कैसे पता चला था maids of honor जो थी उन्हें कि जो princess September है और bird है वो बहुत ज़्यादा close हो गए हैं. The maids of honor brought in the princess's breakfast. The song bird ate rice out of the princess's hand and then sang sweetly. The maids were surprised to find September so happy. They were convinced that the two had become good friends. So they had never seen Princess September so happy, and she used to feed the bird with her hands. So looking at all these things, the maids of honor, they came to know that they have become really close friends. What did the sisters advise the princess to do about her bird? So the sisters said that you should keep the bird in a cage, otherwise it would fly away and would never come back. So you have to keep the bird in a cage, otherwise you will be left with no one. Why did the bird refuse to be taken out in her cage? So when the bird was in a cage and it said that I need to be near nature, I need to be free, I need to fly around, I need to go out. So Princess September says that I'll take you in the cage, but you have to remain there only. Okay, I'll take the cage out and I'll take you outside, but it refuses. Why does the bird do that? The bird said that he loves nature and he couldn't stay happy and normal if he was kept in a cage. He would not be able to enjoy the rice fields, the lake, the willow trees, as they would look quite different and dull when seen through the cage bars. तो bird बोलता है जब बार के केज में से अगर मैं कुछ देखता हूँ तो it's not the same when I'm free. Like when I look at all these things when I'm free and when I see them through that cage, it's not the same. The 8 sisters kept their windows shut. How did it affect them? The 8 sisters who kept their windows shut grew up to be extremely ugly and disagreeable. They were later married off to king's counselors with a pound of tea and a Siamese cat. Okay, so what happened? They grew up to be ugly and disagreeable, and when they were married, they only got a pound of tea and a Siamese cat. Okay, so this was the chapter, everyone. I give you the summary and the question answers. Read the chapter from your NCERT books. I hope you understand the chapter. I already gave you the summary, so it's going to be easier for you now. Thank you. I'll meet you in the next lecture.